Welcome. What do you do when you have nothing to be grateful for? Well, I want to share one of the key lessons I learned through the years, which is that you thank God that there is no hole in your lifeboat. But if you're new to this channel, I just want to say welcome. This channel is a place to help you go from surviving to thriving and learn how your biggest problem is your greatest opportunity. And so before I jump in, I want to share an absolutely incredible story today. A very, a true story, very dramatic, and the lesson that I learned years ago. But before I share this story, I just want to touch on something. I did a video not long ago, and it kind of has a similar theme. It's this idea that gratitude is a gateway emotion. And I hint at this aspect. I kind of laughingly talk about how gratitude is like a gateway drug. You can't access the higher emotions of peace and love and joy or faith or hope without first having gratitude. And so I want you to think about that in light of this story and how gratitude plays a role in kind of priming the pump for us to access these deeper and higher emotions. And so, and I'll also try to leave a link somewhere, one of the video cards for that other video in case that catches your attention. But suffice it to say, I came across this story years ago. I was in my early 20s. I was traveling. I was seeing some family and friends, but family in Eastern Canada at the time. They lived in Toronto, and I had been working my way slowly, and I still am actually, on this bucket list for a number of books. Outside Magazine years ago published an incredible list of books. It was something like the 100 best all-time survival stories, or 100 best all-time survival stories. I don't know how to say that. And I have been slowly working my way through this list. Well, I was at my uncle's house, and he had just married into the family. He was from England, and he looked like Sean Connery and had a lovely British accent. And while I was staying at his grand house, I stumbled on a book on his bookshelf called 117 Days Adrift. And this book was on my bucket list. And so I absconded the book, and while I was there kind of on vacation, it became I just devoured this book. And it was the story of Maurice and Marilyn Bailey, who I think it was in like 1978 or 73, maybe it was 1973, sailed their yacht from England to New Zealand. They had made it across the Panama Canal between North and South America. I think they were on their way to the Galapagos Islands somewhere out in the Pacific when their yacht was hit by a whale. So they had a little bit of time to grab some supplies and necessities, and grab their survival, their raft and escape in their raft. And so this story is actually about their survival story, about how they lived on this raft for it was technically 118 days, but because the news media reported it incorrectly when they first were rescued, they had kept the name as 117 days just for consistency. Well, the story is epic. The things you can learn from somebody's experience like that is just phenomenal. But the thing that stuck with me throughout this story was the fact that on the 8th day that they got into this life raft, or their 8th day on the raft. Well, let me say this before. In a situation like that, it doesn't look like things can get worse. You have just ended up in the middle of the Pacific. You've lost your yacht. You're with your husband or wife, your significant other. And I mean, if you can just put yourself in someone's shoes like that, you don't even know yet that this is going to be the next 4 months of your life drifting aimlessly on the ocean. But 8 days into their story on this life raft, they get a hole in the lifeboat. And the rest of the story details how brutalizingly painful it is to have a hole in your lifeboat, because in their case, they had a pump, so they could pump up their lifeboat. But it meant that every 4 or 8 hours, they had to pump the lifeboat. And as it lost air and it kind of sagged where they were sitting in it, they ended up getting terrible sores on their skin from the salt water. And it just made the survival experience 10 times or 100 times more painful, more difficult, and what have you. And this story, you know, they end up getting rescued 1,500 miles from where their ship goes down, maybe by a Korean whaling or Korean fishing boat, something like that. They end up going home. They don't give up sailing or yachting, whatever it was. They end up out a year later, I think, with a new boat. And to their credit, they didn't let that stop them from pursuing what they loved. But I read this book and it changed my life, because that has been something I have held on to in all the difficult seasons of my life when I have struggled to find anything worth being thankful for, or wanting to think there was nothing to be thankful for in that situation. I've been reminded of this story of this couple and their 117, 118 days at sea. And the thing that I always say to myself is, thank God there's no hole in your lifeboat. So it doesn't matter how bad things are, they can always get worse. And that perspective has given me the ability to be grateful in difficult situations. And I've had my share of them. And so I want to just give you this. I give you this story. I give you this key. And I challenge you to think about, I challenge you to find perspective in your situation, no matter how bad it is, to remember and realize and look kind of in the bigger picture that no matter how bad it is, it can always get worse. And if you're struggling to be somebody to, you know, if you think there is nothing that you can be grateful for, I'm telling you, there is something you can be grateful for. There is always something that we can be thankful for. And I truly believe that gratitude is this kind of gateway emotion and gateway drug. And if you want to see your life turn around, part of it is learning to get perspective. And so I want this channel to be a place to just share some of these life-changing stories that I've had and what things that have helped me transform my life. And this is just one today that had come to me, and I wanted to do this quick little video and share that with you. And I hope to see you again on the next one. Thank you so much and have a great day.